to Let's Talk Evolution, the podcast where real life experiences meet the complexities of today's tech industry. Each episode, we dive into a specific topic with thought leaders who know the systems, the structures, and the nuances that drive the industry. This series is all about exploring the inner workings of tech and learning from the people that understand it best. I'm Danelle from Evolution Recruitment Solutions, and today I am your host. In this episode, we're taking a closer look at what it really means for a company to be AI ready. For many organizations, AI adoption starts with curiosity, but success depends on culture, integration, and long-term vision. How do companies move from testing ideas to building AI-driven systems that actually create value across the business? To answer that, we're joined today by Kevin Aubry, Chief Technology Officer of PALO IT, a global innovation consultancy helping organizations design and deliver sustainable tech solutions. With years of experience leading digital transformation and engineering teams, Kevin brings a practical view on how AI can empower both technology and people inside modern organizations. Kevin, great to have you on this episode. You worn many hats throughout your career, so before we get into this topic, is it possible to give us a quick introduction about yourself?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the podcast. Super excited about it. My name is Kevin. I'm the CTO for PALO IT in Singapore. I've been in tech for like over 15 years, if not 20 years now. Really passionate about it. I've been in Singapore for 10 years now, and in PALO IT for about 7 to 8 years, CTO for about 4 years, and really involved a lot into AI recently, driving some transformation with a big company in Singapore, and of course, like leading the innovation and research at PALO IT, where we develop some AI framework to help organizations scale and transform, leveraging AI at the core of it.
Amazing. Thanks for the introduction. I think super exciting time you're living in, and also you're right at the forefront of what's going on, which is even more exciting. And when we first spoke, I remember you mentioned that a lot of companies say that they're exploring AI, but very few are actually integrating it meaningfully in their operations. So straight into our first question. From your perspective, what does it mean for an organization to be genuinely AI ready?
That's a tough question, like AI ready, especially that AI, with Gen AI as we know it today, is a bit more recent. So I think a lot of organizations are still exploring it, still really experimenting with AI, with the different tools. But for me, I think AI to be AI ready is like from 3 different pillars. I think there's one part that you need is clean data. So you need to be ready in terms of data, because whatever you feed AI are data. And in the context, and without good data, clean data, the AI cannot do anything. So that's something that an organization has to do, is really to ensure that the data you provide to the AI are clean and accurate. Second one is processes. I think a lot of organizations stick to their current processes, and they don't think about, okay, AI is here. Do we need to change the way we do things? So I think to be AI ready, we need to change the way we deliver software or the way we do business. And that's something that companies have to go through to be really ready with AI. And I think the last one is maybe the most important, people. People, because it's quite new. People are used to working without AI or maybe experimenting a little bit, and people don't like to change. They like, to stick to what they know. So changing people is maybe the most difficult. And I think this is the part that we need to spend the most time, is how we can help those people to become AI ready. So there's the organization, but the people in the organization is even the most important to transform, to change in order to be AI ready, to break out those silos that we have today and to really leverage the technology that is available to them.
Yeah, I can completely agree with your last point. I think for especially a bit more traditional companies, we do see that to be quite a big barrier. Trying to get people to be AI ready or, be a bit more AI capable. It's quite a tough one. Yeah. And I also remember that you shared like how at PALO IT, like is like AI is not just being used to optimize workflows, but actually to like augment how teams deliver value. You've seen firsthand how AI can be integrated into software delivery processes. So what are some of the practical challenges and enablers that you've observed when embedding AI into existing workflows? And how can organizations make that transition a bit smoother?
In terms of challenges, I guess there's a couple of them. As I mentioned, because humans are or people are the most important into becoming AI ready. I think one of the most difficult part is the human factor. because first you might have the non-believers in AI to, like, oh no, that's not working. It doesn't do what I want. So I think this is something that's challenging to work with. So there's non-believers. Then there's the people who think they know it all. They know best than any other people, and they say, "Oh no, I know better than AI." Or this is how you should do it, and they're not really open for change. And that's something I notice is I think the people that get the most productivity are the people who are able to rethink the way they work and to think, okay, what if I use it this way? What if I change this part? And that like to experiment and changes and don't stay to whatever they know today. And I think those are really the human factor that's quite difficult. Then I observe the one that are fighting the AI and not working with it. It's more like, okay, rather than, you have your process, you change your ways of working, and then like, oh no, AI doesn't work. And it's not really AI who doesn't work, it's like more you that doesn't know how to work with AI. And that's basically trying to fight the AI rather than changing you to how to work with the AI. And I see that's something that's quite challenging. And as well, the organization that are trying to add AI on top of the current existing process. And basically the result of this is you have those silos, they're just faster silos. That's pretty much it. But the end-to-end doesn't really accelerate. So I think that they don't really rethink the process. So what I notice really works in enterprise to be able to change and become AI ready is you want to leverage champions. So people who are really believe in AI within the organization, you want to leverage those people to really champion the transformation, champions the new way of working, and evangelize in a way within the organization. You want as well to have the backup from senior stakeholders. Those transformation, those changes have to come from the top. They have to push the change within the organization and sometimes put it as KPIs or goals that we have to change the way we work, leveraging AI. So it becomes almost a must that we have to leverage AI and we have to change and not just stick to our gun. You need, of course, to have training and scaling programs. So as I said, like humans, most important, you want to train your people. Don't think that just putting in the tools is going to do a change. They're just going to play with those tools, but you want to train them on how to use within the organization. And you have to treat it as a transformation. It's a big change. It's not something small. And I think sometimes companies really overlook that change. So you have to really think that that's a transformation and that's going to take some time. So that's what I see, what are the enabler and the pitfalls in the current landscape.
I see. And just out of curiosity, what are some, practices that PALO IT does for their, I guess, to kind of enhance their current employee and skill sets?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of parts. So of course we have a training. So we develop like a training, like hands-on training, but not only for developers, as well for designer, product owner, BAs. So we cover like really end-to-end, and we want people to work together. We do have training as well for C-levels, so senior stakeholders, for them to really understand what the change means and what's the impact. And then, of course, I think we need to come in and help them transform. You want to coach them, you want to do with them, and to make them understand that, okay, that's going to take some time, and you want to have experts with you, alongside you, to help you when you have those problems.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, yeah, and I think it brings on to our third question. I think beyond the hype, right, the AI hype, right, where do you see the biggest opportunities and pitfalls for companies trying to scale AI across their business?
I think that's a good question, and maybe I will answer with some examples.
That'd be great.
So in terms of opportunities, earlier this year, I worked with one of the major airline, local one. So this one, we've done a project with them that was supposed to last for about 2 months and a half, about 11 weeks. We managed to deliver that, including training and, of course, changes and new ways of working in 5 weeks. So that means we divided by more than 2 the timelines. And that was earlier this year when the technology was not as mature as it is today, because it keeps changing, So I think for me, like acceleration of productivity, that's something, an opportunity that is really, really there. And here I'm talking about 2 times, but on some other project, we see even more than that. So I think there's something for the organization that really want to change. They can really accelerate productivity for them. And sometimes what does that mean? And that's quite interesting. with some clients, with some discussion we have with C-level, they see it from reducing the cost, of course, because you take less time, but not only internal, but you can think about an insurance company that managed to deliver the software, for example, the product in half the time. That means how can they then make the insurance cheaper for the end user? So not only for internal, but as well for everybody's, it's a benefit for everybody because you're going to pay cheaper your insurance. So now we have those kind of conversation with C-levels that because we accelerate productivity, they rethink about what are the other possibilities where they can invest the money or reduce the cost. I think that's one. Then of course it's an opportunity to rethink the way you work because some companies have been sticking to the way they work quite some time. So you want to rethink how you work and from a different perspective, from coding to testing to documentation to writing requirements to design. So that's something that's very low-hanging fruits. And another opportunity is you want to rethink as well maybe your skills within the company. So the skills are shifting in a way that you want people and you want to focus from low-level issues or problem like writing tests, writing documentation, writing reports, to really focusing on solving problems. So you spend less time in those admin work or like low-level work, and you can spend more time on solving real problems that you have within the company because AI accelerates everything else. And maybe if I talk about the different pitfalls, is sometimes you just experimenting in silos. So as I mentioned earlier, if you work in silos, that's not great because you're just going to accelerate those silos, but then you're going to have bottlenecks at every steps. Yeah. One example is I work with a development team. We accelerate the whole development over here, but then they were waiting on the designer to provide the design. Because the designer didn't change the way they work, we're just stuck. So at the end, we didn't really go faster. We're just faster for the coding, but then we had to wait for designer to be ready. So I think that's one of the pitfalls that you want to think about every step of the process and think about the end-to-end and not just those silos. And the second is forgetting the human factor. That the changes goes fast. Like if I think like every other week, there's a new tool, there's something new that comes out. So you cannot change the way you work every 2 weeks. So you have to think about the long run and how basically that's going to affect humans, that they're going to be tired of changing, a lot of having a new tool and learning new skills. So that's something that you have to think about how you don't forget the human factor. That's one of the pitfalls I see, that just adding tools and expecting people to change, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I think like quite right, because it's quite a new, AI is so new, right? So you might train someone on a whole new model and then something new comes out is better. You got to retrain everyone again. And when you work with companies and you scale AI, right, do they also kind of do like gaps in like data governance and like readiness be a bit more prominent? I would assume so as well, right?
In terms of data, so that's something that we observe in terms of like, because as I mentioned earlier, you want to feed data and clean data into AI, right? So it's now how we can leverage AI now to clean the data, but you still leverage humans, at some point to get the data with AI to you, and you still some kind of human verification on top of it. So that's something, of course, that we see is how we can clean the data and some data governance to ensure that whatever data you have is clean and can be used by AI to be more productive then.
I see. Right. And it brings us to our last question. I think just now you did mention that how AI, I guess, accelerates the way people work, right? I think some people are not so keen on that for a very reasonable reason. And that's what everyone's asking me, right? Will AI replace or empower engineers, right? So there's a lot of debate about AI replacing versus empowering. So from a people's perspective, how do you see roles evolving? And what kind of skills or mindset should talent develop to stay relevant in this new landscape?
That's a question that I ask myself a lot. And I think sometimes I do change my mind, depending on what I see and what I read. And I get asked a lot by, people in university or like juniors of, hey, what's there for us? Are we going to be replaced soon? What are the skills? What should we be focusing on? And quite interestingly, I see that people who are using AI, juniors or like people like university, they tend to adopt those technology faster because in a way they're almost born in it. compared to more seniors that have more experience, but it's more difficult to change them. Because it's a change management and you have to change in order to be way more efficient with AI. So with juniors, they're almost like a blank state. Okay, AI is part of the way they work and it's sometimes easier for them. And the skills that they have to learn or that people have to really know when you work with AI is you're moving from, like writing the code, writing the test, or redoing the work itself to more designing, directing. Like you have this AI that's your teammate, and the AI now is part of your team. Is how you're going to work, how you're going to direct, how you're going to prompt that teammate to work with and for you. And I think this is basically the skills that need to shift. And in order to do that, you need to be very good at problem framing, so understanding problem and framing it clearly. And you need to be able to learn continuously. Because as I said earlier as well, is that AI keep changing. Like every 2 weeks, there's something new. So you have to keep up with the pace, and really be able to learn fast, those new technology and embed it in your ways of working. But I see like everybody who's able to adapt to it are really loving it. And I don't think they can really go back. And something about, replacing engineers and so on, I think I hear that a lot. For me, I feel that AI won't replace engineers, at least today. I mean, 5 years or 10 years.
Who knows what's going to happen, right?
Who knows, right? But I feel that today, engineers with AI that use AI is going to replace the people who don't. And I think for me, that's something that's important. You have to get on the train. You have to learn to work with AI. Otherwise, you will be replaced by people who are using it.
And just like, I guess, like to end it off, right? What would be, I guess, the most useful tool that you have found to help your workflow currently?
There is many tools. I think there's not a single tool. Personally, I use a lot of ChatGPT, Claude Code, Code Copilot, GitHub Copilot, Microsoft Copilot. I think it's about not a single tool, but knowing which tool is good for the task that you want to solve. And I think this is about having your toolbox and knowing which tool to use to solve which problem.
I see. Okay. All right. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Let's Talk Evolution. A big thank you to Kevin for sharing his insights on what it really means to build an AI-ready organization. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow and share this episode with your network. We've got more conversations coming your way. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys soon.